What's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this third part of this Quando Rondo Angela Yee interview, man. Now, on this part, it's actually titled, They Don't Like Us. Now, in this part, it's the third part of the installment, and he's basically talking about some of his relationships in NBA. So, for those of you who don't know, Quando Rondo is a part of 4K Trey. He reps NBA, or I can't say NBA gang, but we'll say NBA as far as, you know, his record label and everything. His association with NBA Youngboy runs deep. And he talks about that in detail. And he starts to mention a lot of the other members in, 4K Trey, and talks about how their outlook is inside the group as far as like King Von, as far as Lil Durk, and everybody, man. And he makes some wild accusations, I should say, about the reason that everything went down in Atlanta like he did, and he feels like people are actually trying to clout up off of him. Now, before we get into the specifics, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this interview. So Quando Rondo opens up by talking about NBA Youngboy, which is a shock, man. I mean, he says he doesn't want to talk about him, but he just goes into the fact that NBA Youngboy is a force in the rap game. You know, they haven't been able to figure out this NBA Youngboy situation because he's got such a hold on the youth as far as being a rapper. It's amazing, man, to say the least. I got to give him his props and they team their props on that, for real. NBA Youngboy is a humongous force. Now, Quando Rondo doubles down on that point and talks about his relationship with NBA Youngboy and NBA Youngboy's relationship with him, NBA Herm, NoCap, which surprised me, and BBG Baby Joe. So he talks about all of them and how NBA Youngboy would do anything for them. You know what I mean? How he looks out for them for no matter what. Like, their relationship is so solid. He said he'll do anything for NBA Youngboy. So it's a little different when you hear somebody say it like that. You know what I mean? When you see people clicked up and you know they down for each other, they ride with their label or whatever, it's easy to say those things. But, in this situation, you could tell that, he's actually being sincere when he says this. And it just lets you know that over at 4K Trade, they got their team pretty tight. I mean, anytime somebody says anything about NBA Youngboy, you see NBA Herm immediately address it. You see, anybody from 4K Trade, even NBA Big B, cats like that, they always go at it. And Quando Rondo has that same type of relationship and love for the whole team and the whole squad, it seems like, from the first part of this interview, or the first part of this. I'll say this, though. With Quando Rondo, while he's talking to Angela Yee, and he's describing his relationship with NBA Youngboy, I mean, he is going, like, he's putting all his heartfelt emotion into letting her know how much he cares for NBA Youngboy, right? He said he would give him $500,000 if he could. He would give him a chain off his neck. He just doesn't care. They got that type of relationship. And he starts to talk about the fact that nobody likes them in the rap game because they don't mess with anybody, just anybody. They won't, do songs with just anybody. They won't click up with just anybody. And, some of that is believable, but something about the way that Quando Rondo is looking around and stuff and delivering all this information to Angela Yee, I don't know, man. It's hard to believe him at points. And that's the point I'm probably getting at. Now, I will give Angela Yee some credit because she starts asking some probing questions, and I like probing questions because then you get to really understand what the person is trying to, convey, what their message and their narrative they're trying to paint, especially when this is some type of PR-laced, legal team talk to type of interview. You know what I mean? You could tell he was prepped before the interview, right? And she asked him about the whole rumor that King Von and NBA Youngboy had an issue because of some girl. She did it in a roundabout way. And Quando Rondo denied all of that. He said that most of the situations are due to folks, hating on them. And that, NBA Youngboy, he doesn't care about any of this. He doesn't care about any of those relationships or whatnot. But man, we've seen videos of NBA Youngboy going off on Fredo Bang about things before. So I don't know if I believe Quando Rondo in this situation too, man. It seems like he's doing a lot of covering, and we all know why he's covering. He's definitely trying to paint a narrative that's favorable to Lil Tim, so that way he has a better chance of fighting in this case. And that we'll get to a little bit of that later too. And then Quando, he continues and he says a couple of things like this. This is where he makes some of his wildest accusations, you know what I mean? Or claims, I should say. Now, he's saying that he doesn't know why the altercation started, and he feels that maybe they were trying to clout up off of him because dude just dropped the tape. So, for those of you who don't remember, King Von had just dropped Welcome to O Block that week. So, you know, it was like it was a celebration for his album release and whatnot. And Quando is saying that he doesn't know if they were trying to, you know, get on him or, you know, run down on him to cloud up off the fact that they beat him up so that way they can promote their tape, which is kind of odd, man. I mean, that's not impossible, to be real with you, man, right? That is not impossible, but I don't know. That's a wild accusation. I mean, you can take it and run with that how you want to, but I mean, he says that with a straight face. And Angela Yee, kind of coaches him through it and says, well, you just don't know, you know, you don't know why it all started is basically what you're saying. And he's adamant at saying the point that he feels that they were probably trying to, you know, cloud up off of him with the whole fight or whatnot. And he continues by saying a couple other things, man. Now, he says he doesn't understand why everybody's mad at him, why everybody's mad at NBA Youngboy, and he feels like he doesn't even know why the situation started. He said he never even said a cuss word to King Von. He said he never even got into any type of, you know, verbal, you know, type of spat with King Von. He said the last time they actually talked, everything was cool. Now, don't forget, in part 2, he actually said he didn't realize that King Von was the person who was shot until the very next day. Now, I find that very hard to believe, but I mean, that's what he said, and that's what he's kind of building upon in this part of the interview. Now, Quando Rondo wraps it up by talking about NBA Youngboy and his relationship as compared to his relationship with Lil Tim. So he makes this comparison. He says that if NBA Youngboy, being who he is in the rap game, his influence on the rap game and his influence on Quando Rondo personally, if he was out with NBA Youngboy and some cats start jumping NBA Youngboy and then a gun fell on the ground and they're mixing it up and he picked up the gun and something happened, you know, everybody be looking at him like he was crazy. So the comparison is that Lil Tim was in his shoes in that scenario, right? And he just picked a gun up and just, you know, protected his friend who has an influence on his life and he's trying to protect him. Now, once again, this is another way of him trying to, you know, shoot Lil Tim some bail. He's basically doing all this. This interview is basically a way to show that Lil Tim is innocent or to prove his innocence and to make sure that he clears his name and cloud up off the situation as well. Is what it seems like. Now, I don't have any ill feelings towards Quando Rondo, but as each part comes out, you start to see what this is really about. And you start to understand that this is kind of a clout move. It's not really that much of a clear your name thing, even though he's trying to clear his name at the same time and clear Lil Tim's name at the same time legally. You know what I mean? Because for all intents and purposes, I did not see a situation where Lil Tim might have picked up a gun that was already on the ground. But by saying that, he leaves a lot of room open for speculation when it comes to the court case. So he's playing this smart, man. You see what he's doing. I mean, I understand what he's doing here with this whole interview with each part, and it's still interesting. I'm not gonna lie, man, because him comparing his relationship to NBA Youngboy's and Lil Tim's relationship to him, it kind of made sense. But you know, there's a lot more on the line with each of them because they're both entertainers. So if one of them picked up a weapon and, you know, tried to defend the other, I think there would be a little bit more understanding. So I kind of agree with that point. Now, what do you guys think, man? We 3 parts into this series, and it looks like they're going to drop one every day until it's done. And I don't know how many parts in total they're going to drop, but it's highly entertaining. I'll say that, man. Now, with that, this has been your boy, Big Man. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.